So there's a guy called The Truth. Have you ever heard of The Truth?
Yes.
Christian rapper. So I saw him first on MTV. There was this Sweet 16 thing. You remember that?
Yes.
Where the rich people
Yes,
This time it was a pastor's kid.
Okay.
Was having a party and so she brought The Truth because it's like
A
Christian
thing.
yeah. And and everybody was loving it. It was good vibes, and so I heard of him. So one of my aunties came to visit from Zambia, and they were going back. So one family friend brought because they bought stuff, and they were going.
Yeah.
So he came to help them out and stuff. So he's banging music, and I'm like, yo, this is vibes. This is good vibes, and.
Is that The Truth play?
So it's The Truth player, and I don't know. So I'm asking him, yo, is this G Unit? What's this? And he's like, nah, this is The Truth. But like, I heard of him. He's like the Christian guy. Then he immediately plays this track called The Resurrection. Resurrection is a crazy track. So it's like he says, I'm homesick. This body's a tent. I guess it's safe to say God's people are homeless. He says it. And just as sure as a fugitive runs, our monies are tied up in mutual funds. Cats be like, you get unusual ones. That's because the riches we got is stored up for after the funeral. Son, numeral 1. Christ had to rip the veil because there was bad blood between us like sickle cell. Anemia, the media keep feeding us lies. Immediately we eat it up like medium fries. So I was like, yo, that's bars. And that thing is like, it's like there's no beat behind.
Yeah.
So he's rapping that. I'm like, yo, this guy's rapping like he's holding a gun or something. Like this is deep. But one of the things in that line that really hit me is my little sisters, they're twins, they're the youngest ones. They grew up with, they're still alive, thank God. They've got sickle cell anemia. They've got sickle cell anemia. So he says, we had bad blood between us like sickle cell. And I knew exactly what he meant.
Yes.
And Christ had to rip that veil. So I'm like, he ripped the veil. So I heard that. So that's another thing about theology and stuff. Like it's always stuff like I could hear and kind of understand because we had an issue. So yeah. So then now we go to this personal one-on-one thing with the pastor, and he's like, "Yo, I see a star on you, but you gotta have to have a personal relationship with God because that's the only way that star gonna shine." I'm like, alright. So we pray, and after that, I feel different. I feel different because this time I actually want to go to church. I'm actually trying to attend. So his setup was a little different for me. His setup was like very prophetic. Let me pray for you guys. No young people in the church. So I'm like, I'm still going, but I hate it.
Yes.
I'm still going. But
it's not for you.
It's not for me. But I'm like,
I like it.
Yeah. My mom is surprised because I'm waking up on a Sunday. And I'm like, yo, I'm about to go to church. But I'm when people say they got saved and they were radical, and that's not me. That's not my story.
Because it's smooth. So I think your story sort of reminds me of KB. KB the rapper.
Yeah.
Because his story is sort of like similar to yours. Like he was listening to a Christian.
Yeah.
That's how he actually got saved.
Yeah.
Through Christian. Hip hop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, man. Some there's a guy called Dusty. Dusty's a pastor in Durban. Another guy called Nyasha. There was a church just a walk away from where I stayed. So very youthful, very my type of vibe now. But then I was just like, nah, these guys are making noise. So they came and knocked at my door, and they didn't just knock like a small knock. They just like, because the thing about it, I was knocking off from what I was doing from work. Then I went home and I saw them moving around, passing flyers. Yes. Usually I just ignore and you're like, sometimes when they knock, you just let them knock until they get tired and they move, So this time he knocked loud and then almost like left. And I'm like, yo, let me give this guy a
chance.
Like, let me go tell him like, you don't knock on my. Then he's like, yo, I'm sorry for knocking. Then he said this. He's like, yo, there's a little like a hip hop concert coming. There's a rapper from Durban coming. And I'm like, I heard the guys, they're called MIC.
Yeah.
MIC. There was one guy from MIC who came. So I'm like, okay, it's rap. It's a white boy rap, but still rap nonetheless. So I went there and I'm going there and I'm fashionably late because I know black people's things start late. Then I get there and things started on time. I'm the one who's late. I'm like, oh, okay, you're church people.
It's different. You're all different.
You're different. You're different. And they're having, like, everyone's having a good time. Kids is jumping around. Everybody's having a good time. I'm like, yo, there's not even any alcohol up in this place.
Yes.
And you guys are having a good time. I'm like, yo, I wish people knew about this. For contrast, a friend of mine just came, the time when people were schooling from Malaysia.
Yes.
He just came and he invited me to go somewhere the same day. And I had such a terrible time at that place. Like, car almost hit me. It was just like crazy things. I'm like, yo, I had better time in church than I had this. Yeah. And there's a friend of mine, there's another guy who knows, like a big bro. He saw me and was like, what are you doing here? Go home. Go home. You don't need to be here. And he never says that to me. So I'm like, yo, I don't need to be here. It was just these things that are just like little signs that.
Yeah, I remember William McDowell also had a similar experience.
Yeah.
He was queuing up for a party or to go into a club when he was off in college.
Yeah.
University that side.
Yeah.
And he said somebody just came and asked him, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
And then the person disappeared after. It's like, where's that person? He must be, what am I doing?
No, he was like, go home, you don't need to be. And I had such a bad experience. Like, even when leaving, there's a car that, I don't know, just like, the guy just was about to hit me. Oh, no, he did hit me. He just like sped up, hit me, and I moved to the side, and the tire ran over my foot. I was like, this is such a terrible experience. Like, I don't want to do this no more. Let me go check that church out this Sunday, because it was a Friday. I'm like, let me check out this church this Sunday. I'm like, yo, this is vibes. I like it. I'm liking it here. So even then, like, I'm rapping, but I'm not telling people in church that I'm rapping, because I don't. At that time, I'm like, I don't want to be a Christian rapper. Like, I don't want to be that. I don't know, So I'm like, I want to figure out a way I could quit this whole rap thing. Yeah. Then another guy in the neighborhood was like, yo, I'm opening a studio. I want to like give you like a record deal, like just you. Because by then I was rapping with friends and stuff. It was like, just you, I want to give you a record deal because I feel like you're teachable and you want to learn. So I'm like, okay, I'll need to get back to you on that one. Because I'm now Christian type of vibes, I'm reading the Bible type vibe. Of thing. So I'm like, yo, so I read this verse in the Bible that same day when you offered me that thing. It was like John 16:33, if I'm not mistaken. It says, I have told you this so that you may have peace by being united in me. In this world you have so many trials and tribulations, but be brave because I have defeated the world. So I was scared that if I show the world my faith and stuff, I'll be rejected. This is me. Like, I wasn't like going out from the flats to church. This is the time before the Bible app. I used to hide my Bible so that people in the neighborhood.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah, so
you
people
had to carry your Bible.
Yeah, so people in the neighborhood don't see that this guy's carrying a Bible. Like, that's how crazy it was. I remember telling that same guy before that I've started going to church. But I'm telling him like
the record label guy.
Yeah, the record label guy. I'm telling him like I'm on drugs type of thing. I'm like, I need to tell you something, man.
Got the word.
I don't know what happened, man. Like, I just find myself in church on a Sunday. Like it was. I'm telling him like I'm on drugs. Like, hey, to the king, hey, dude,
I found myself at this place.
I'm in church, and he's like, that's okay. That's okay. Everybody needs to, because he's not about that life. So I'm really trying not to get rejected by this new faith that I have. So anyway, just speeding right along. New Year's comes along. first New Year as a Christian. So I'm like, what do I do? There's nothing happening. So this is important for the unashamed story as well. And so I go to, there's a Mascom booster something bash. So we go there, and I'm seeing some Christians there from our church, and they don't want to talk to me. They don't want to vibe. They want to keep that thing. They're holding, like, remember, I've stopped drinking. I long stopped drinking. So they're holding their liquors. They don't want to. I'm like, my guys, we are here. I'm here to we're trying to have fun. So the dumbest thing happens there. One of my friends got into an altercation with another friend right outside. So that led to the police coming and arresting my friends and the guys who were outside. So we end up in front of the police station, and some of the guys are drunk, and I'm just like, okay, this is no way to celebrate New Year's, lots of drama happens there. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'm not doing parties again on the New Year. So the next New Year, I said, okay, I'm going to do a church. So the church I was a part, they took a break during Christmas season. Yeah. They said, yeah, go evangelize, go share with the family. Yeah. So that time I went to this church, prophet guy, new hotshot guy. So prophet, like, the church is different from our church. They started late, and it was a really different vibe. So he just said, so they were advertising the New Year's show. And they're like, yo, New Year's gonna be dope. You guys better come. My life is gonna change. Everything's gonna change. So so I go over for the New Year's, and the whole time he's just talking about himself and how anointed he is, and if you want to be anointed, and I'm not getting any vibes. So he starts praying. So his deacons are praying, and he's praying, but his line is like extra long because everybody wants that extra anointing. Yes. So I'm like, okay, let me join the line, and and then all I know is it's 6 a.m. I'm still in the line, and I'm like, I'm pissed. I leave the church. I'm like, you know what? This is not it. It's not it. It can't be about one man. So as I'm walking, I'm like, next New Year's, I'm setting it up. We're gonna have good vibes. We're gonna have good Christian events. But I don't know what's happening. Whatever I'm speaking, like, I think it's coming from my heart, because I'm like, I'm gonna invite the crate,
So there's a hunger there that's
there's this deep hunger and a frustration. Mm-hmm. First of all, I don't like what's going on
in the world.
I don't like what's going on in the church. Like, we need to change things. Like, we need to change things. So I'm saying that the next month I'm frustrated, and I'm telling people, look, I went to church and this guy was just speaking about himself, and so it was all about him. There was no evangelism. There were people that were bored on their phones that came. No one's reaching like Jesus. No one is talking about this. Yo, something needs to change. So then the next month, somebody texts me at church and says, "Do you know Lecrae is coming this year?" I'm like, wait, what? Wait, what? He's coming? Like, how come? So during that time, I'm also started talking to a few other guys that I realized are also rapping and stuff. The year before, I met a guy in the team who was part of Excalibur called Stretch. And all of those are just crazy stories. If you want me to get into them. Yeah, so anyway, so Lecrae is coming. I've been meeting guys up that I'm telling, like Justice League, like Batman. I'm going to them and say, yo, I feel like we need to make a team for like a lot of people that need to hear a good message, but not in the way everyone is preaching this. Yes. Yeah, because in there are church rappers. And the church rap or the church hip hop is so, first of all, for me, I was feeling. I think I'm okay with it now, but then I was so frustrated. I was thinking, like, this is backdated. This is boring. And a lot of people used to vibe, and I know MVP's got a song with that, but a lot of people used to vibe with this thing, and no shame on MVP. This thing called that what do they go? How do they go? Like, ain't no party like a Holy Ghost party, because the Holy Ghost party don't stop. Where's the crank? Where's the trap? Where's this? This is just some outdated thing. So that's the frustration that's growing in me. So I'm like, I'm going to put up a team. So yeah, so that team gets put up. I'm trying not to waste too much time. It's a lot of.
Who's part of the team? Who's part of the team?
Yeah. So first, Stretch becomes this. Okay, here's the thing. Okay, now Stretch is it's a really important part of the story because, I meet Stretch at his youth group comes to our youth group, and part of that youth group is a lady called Samantha Mohwe. Samantha Mohwe is important because Samantha Mohwe is a family friend of mine, and I know she's a singer. So I'm doing this new singing thing, and I just found God, and so I'm trying to get her to do like a little feature thing. So I'm hitting her with that little speech. Hey, King, I just found God, and she's smiling at me. I don't know if her intention is to deflect because she doesn't really do a lot of features personally. She doesn't really do a lot of rap collab. So I'm like, she hitting me with that deflect. Then she says, "Have you met Stretch?" Changes the topic altogether. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like, okay, let me go meet Stretch. So we meet this guy. At that time, he's 15 years old. So he's like, rap, you rap too? Yo, it's not, so he's like, he's happy to see me because there's not too many rappers around. So I'm like, yo, rap. I'm thinking this guy is whack. Yo, he blows the socks off. Then I'm like, okay, let me rap. Then he's also impressed with me rapping. So I'm like, cool, let's exchange numbers. Let's exchange numbers. I like you, So Stretch is important. I'm gonna stay there. So we become friends, just back and forth, just talking and sharing stuff. So I'm gonna track back a little bit. So I'm new, like back to when I'm still fresh. My mom attends a funeral of some guy who's also was a Zambian guy, and he used to rap, and it was like Christian rap. And my mom says, but I felt a connection between that guy and you. Did he ever come here and whatnot? I was like, no, never. I ain't friends with no Christian rappers. Nah.
I'm too cool.
I'm too cool
for school.
So come to find out, like a friend, Stretch is playing some of his music. I took him to the studio where I'm recording my stuff. So I'm like, yo, you need to meet these dope producers. Stretch is a dope producer. By that time, another guy called Malcolm, I'll talk about Malcolm's story. He comes, so we're playing the music, and he plays this other guy called May Chris, which is the same guy who passed away. Mm-hmm. So I'm listening to his music. I'm like, this guy is dope. This guy is really, really, really dope. Wait, he's dead? And I'm hearing his story about how he was so passionate for God and stuff, but he's dead. At that time, I'm not really serious. I'm just, so I'm like, this passionate for God guy who's like really driven is dead, and that hits me like, God, why are you taking away your soldiers like that? Because this guy he can do something for the kingdom, He died, and the way he died going on a mission trip.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and God, now what's this thing you're doing? I felt something in me saying, you're going to continue where he left off. You're going to continue where he left off. I'm like, sure. I didn't want to, but, I just felt something saying, yo, I think that's me, I think that's me. So that's how the Stretch thing is so important. And I also had to go to Stretch because Stretch was just, at that time, was just like very talented, but he was trying to really find out where he should apply his talent and stuff. Like, yo, I got this idea, and I want to recruit some guys. So I'll talk about Malcolm real quick and Obi and them. So Malcolm started coming to church along with a couple of his friends. So Malcolm is a dancer at the same time. He's a producer and an artist as well. So we spoke. He knew me from the rap scene and stuff. So he had a lot of respect for me. I had a lot of respect for him. And he's. I mean, if you ever heard of Chef Gustos, Malcolm taught him how to make beats, you know, and he's a big artist.
Yeah.
So Malcolm taught him how to make beats. And yeah, so I was just like, we started like back and forth relationship. I used to show him, like, give him all my resources, like, this is what I'm listening to, in like Christian wise is what I'm listening to, you know, with Christian rapper wise, this is the preacher. So we're growing, we're building a friendship. Obi is a guy I also knew from the rap thing. He came and he was a part of my church, and he was fresh from the streets. So you can still smell some stuff. Like, it's funny how he's the guy who's now becoming a pastor and stuff like that.
Yes.
Like, he was fresh, and I was like, I need to recruit. Like, I was scared to take a chance with Obi. You imagine? I'm scared. Like, this guy's fresh. Like, yo, I heard you're doing this positive rap thing. You know, I'm trying to do that as well, but So, Malcolm takes a chance with him. He's like, yo, let's go record. So then I go hear the song they did. I'm like, yo, this song. They did a song called Lorato Lelekana. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
I think I have.
Yeah, man, that song was off the chains. So I called him up. I was like, yo, I'm putting a team together. And the sacrifice he did was he just did a whole non-Christian project with a group that he said that he had to abandon to join what we were doing.
This is OB.
Yeah. So it was such a sacrifice because he kept having back and forth talks with people that were his boys. They're still his boys up to today. I think they ended up understanding what this guy's
the guy's changed.
The guy's changed, you know. And it was such a sacrifice for him because when he told me he was happy, then he started sending me SMSs like, I feel like this is what God is doing. Then I feel like it's a call from God. I'm so happy to be part of this thing. Then the next morning, I think it hit. Then he just says, yo, I just recorded a whole project and this, and this is going to be a sacrifice for him. And it was like, Obi used to just like in Excalibur, like there's a time for 2 years he was living in Moleps. And for us, I used to crack the whip. So every Wednesday we used to do practice just to perfect our art. Yes. So he used to come all the way from Moleps on a Wednesday evening to sleep in Gabs, then go back the very next morning on his account, on his stuff. Like, that guy was crazy. Yeah. Then a guy he left the team, but he was a part of the team. It was a very crazy connection. There's a time I just felt like, yo, I need to go to Bible Life this Friday. I don't know how. I just felt
feeling.
Like
there's a feeling.
It was this feeling. So I'm going to Bible Life. Yeah. And I sit next to this guy who's like the youth pastor's assistant. His name's Tabang Chakura. He became part of the team. It was the craziest thing because he was just from Malaysia, on fire for God, and he made these beats and this rap. And I don't know if you remember Reverb Nation. That was before SoundCloud, right before SoundCloud.
Yes.
Something called Reverb Nation. So on Reverb Nation, he was always on the top 3 best hip hop acts, making the music he was making.
Okay.
I'm like, not best Christian hip hop, but best hip hop, top 3. Yo, I didn't know you guys existed right now. So I'm finding these guys who are like way above average type artists, you know?
I guess for you, it was sort of like a shock that you would find people this good in church.
Yeah.
So I think for most people, they usually think that people who are that good would be somewhere else, but not in church. Like in church is always mediocre stuff.
Yes. And I was trying to kill that stereotype. Yeah. So Tato, I didn't really have a relationship with Tato. Tato was somebody who I heard like twice. She was at our church. So it was very frustrating for me because I heard her twice and she blew my socks off, and I could tell, you know, I don't know, it's also probably a gifting of sorts. Like, I could really tell that this girl is really talented and she can go places. But I don't have a relationship with her. But I go to her and I'm like, yo, you know what? I'm putting a team together without like any proper relationship. So she says no. Nope. You know? So, I mean, just because she's also growing on fire for God and stuff, and she loves this mission of using her gifts for something greater. So she ends up after some couple months going, oh, okay, let's try this out. Okay, let's try this out. So that became the team. Then quick one. So then I never had like this is when we're gonna start. I was like, no, we're gonna start someday. So around that same time, I'm listening to the radio station like Cross Gold radio, and I'm like, there's this guy called Trevor Jones, the personality, and that Cross Gold. This is where Cross Gold is located. I work somewhere nearby, so at lunch, I'm like, oh, let me go. Let me just go and meet Trevor. So the first day he meets me, he invites me to be part of the planning and the organization for Lecrae.
So they are the ones who brought Lecrae?
Yeah. Cross Gold, there was Trevor through some of his connections. He was doing a tour around Africa. So Botswana was not an official spot.
Okay.
And
it was a diversion.
Yeah, it was a diversion. Yeah. Botswana was not an official spot. So he was like, yo, let's get him. And there were things where so the first time I met him, he's just meeting me for the very first time. And just like, yo, you want to be a part of the planning thing? Look, there's a lot that needs to be done. I need all the help I can get. I'm like, yo, you just met me. You don't even know, So I'm like, yo, I'm in, if you want me to lift. So he starts smiling. It's like I'm like, if you want me to lift chairs, stack things up, put this there, I'm in. I'm not thinking that I'm going to be part of the performers and the rappers.
Yes.
I'm just thinking, yo, if you want me to stack chairs, I'm good, Yeah, I mean, those things that financially were not there yet, we had to contribute. That's what I'm making all those sacrifices, putting this together. We start meeting on a regular. We're finishing off, making sure everything is fully booked and stuff. So, so at that time also at church, I'm becoming popular because, I don't know, I messed around and spoke in front of the church. One time, I was giving testimony to this thing about new Christians, the new Christian thing called Kickstart at church. I messed around and spoke, and the elders were like, they hit me up like, good job, later, good job. The elder called me on a Monday, he's like, yo, I think you got a gift, bro. I think you got a gift. Like when you're speaking, your soul's crying, and, there's something God's using you for. So I'm now involved in church and stuff, and because I'm trying to express the whole gift thing.
Yes.
But now the conflict comes with this whole thing where I'm doing stuff outside the church. I'm going to visit churches, and I'm
you are unstable.
I'm not it's not received well because you're like, you're just new now. You're excited about all these other things.
Yes.
But I'm feeling in my heart. I'm feeling an urgency, like this needs to be done now. Like sacrifices need to be done now. Like this, there's a now thing about this. I'm also feeling like I should quit my job. I'm working nice. I'm working nice. I'm earning good money for a guy who does not have a degree, is dyslexic, and I've got a good sales job with a good commission, and I just felt like, I think I really need to do this. So I'm talking to people, and they're like, yo, if you're feeling it's God, then go for it. But at the same time, at church, I don't. There's a lot I don't have, but I'm feeling like, what, for the kingdom, like I'm just feeling like, like I need to grow with what I'm doing. I need discipleship. I need a lot of people around me. But my pastor wasn't really happy with me being too new of a Christian and me going out there and running around and doing that. So he kind of gave me a little bit of an ultimatum of, if you're going to do your thing, then, good luck. Cheers to you. Do your thing. But if you want to do this, if you want to come here, do your thing, then you have to for a season, say bye-bye to everything you're feeling and just fall in line with what God's doing here.
Yeah.
And it was just this It was just this turmoil. So anyway, fast forward. So we failed to find Christian artists that are still saved, still on fire for God, to be back up, to open up for Lecrae.
Yeah.
We're failing.
It was Lecrae and
Lecrae and the 116. They were coming. The whole crew Tadashi was here. Pro was supposed to come. Pro didn't come, but KB, Andy Mineo, who else? There was a DJ, P Dog. I think that was it. If I remember another one, Triply was here as well. So yeah, we're failing, and I don't know what hits me. I was like, I'm supposed to build a team. I'm supposed to do this rap thing. So I hit the guys up. I'm like, yo, remember when I said there was going to be such a time? I feel like the time is now. Let's go. So then that next meeting, we're like, yo, we're supposed to find a team. Did you manage to find some guys? I'm like, it's going to be us. It's going to be us. We're like, are you sure? We're like, yeah, we just have to do it. So we start recording music from then on and putting stuff together. Then during that time, that's also when Tato was like, yo, let's do it. I'm like, yo, if you say let's do it, it's now. Now, the biggest thing about Tato and Stretch is they are writing their Form 5. And the show was going to take place during the time they're doing their Form 5. So part of it as well was just, Tato said, look, you need to come talk to my mom and tell her all these things you're telling me, because I don't know how this is going to go. And I was just like, okay. Went to talk to the mom. It was scary, nerve-wracking, but she was like, okay. I'm like, really? Then, yeah, so now exams, she can really like go and do this thing during exam season. And Stretch is like, my dad is a Ghanaian dad from Ghana. Like, you don't even know. Education is first yes. in the house. I don't know if he's gonna say yes. So we were like, let's just trust. Let's just pray and trust God that he's gonna say yes. And he took 2 weeks to ask him, and when he asked him, he said yes. It was the craziest thing.
So God was there.
It was crazy, yeah. So God was there. So now we're doing this show for Lecrae. We're bringing people up. The guys are excited, and now they're hearing this new group called Excalibur. That now we start putting music. We started with the Obi song, Loratelele. So it was like the first from Excalibur song, and the guys are like, the reception is crazy. The reception is like, yo, we needed you guys to step in the scene.
Isn't there a video for that? I think there's a video on YouTube. For Loratelele, or is it a snippet or something?
There must be something on YouTube. Yeah. So yeah, then so now they're like, okay, there's this local guys, and then Unashamed happens. I get to meet Lecrae, get to talk to him and share with him what's on my heart and everything. I shared with him my testimony. It was good vibes. It was really good vibes, and I got to see. One of the things I got to see was, I would call it, for lack of a better knowledge or a better word, anointing. Like there's something on his life that was also still like in a measure, because he was with those guys on other people's lives, but on him it was just like, I remember the guys who were taking pictures, they're like, yo, how come his pictures are more clear than everyone else's pictures? Yeah, so his pictures like are clear. We're like, what? When we started the show, the sound was pretty bad. Excalibur was opening, but we also, the few guys that came through to open as well. There's a group that's traveled in from Zim, a few other people that came up after that. So the sound was bad when it started, but by the time we got to Lecrae, the sound was
perfect.
Yeah. Then at the show we had like almost 800 people that came.
Where was the show?
It was at we used the Learning Center's hall. They have a very beautiful setup. I don't know if they still let people do that, but it was a beautiful setup. So almost like 800 people, And most of the people kept sharing the same stories. Like, I saw this person. I had no idea that this person was Christian. Like, I saw this person, I had no idea that they were Christian. I'm in the same class with this person. I had no idea that they're Christian. So they were like, there was this new thing where, like, you know what? Why are we hiding our faith? Let's be unashamed. So then, like 2 weeks later, a group of guys were just like, yo, we need to meet up from everything we experienced at the Lacrae show and just talk. I just talk Christianity as different Christians from different places. So like 30 people showed up. I was one of the 30 people because somebody invited me. And I was like, whoa, all these guys want to do something that's out there, that's unashamed. And there was this girl called Khomutso, Catherine. So she's like, just goes around picking people that she feels like can be leaders for this unashamed thing. And then she picks me and like, yo, but I got this Excalibur thing I'm doing, But anyway, I really feel so. A few guys come together. They're like, you guys, let's lead this thing. Let's take this forward. And I'm like, oh, okay, let's do it. I got some things on my heart as well. I want to share. I want to express because of all these frustrations that were happening. The New Year's thing and all those things. Yes. I got some frustrations. Then I also like, there's a guy I feel should be a part of this leadership team. Bobo. At that time, he didn't attend because he had another commitment. He heard about it. It's like, yo, Bobo needs to be a part of this, So, yeah, the crazy thing, Bobo ends up leading, and that's another story altogether. Yeah, but with Excalibur, man.
So this group just met, or from this group of 30 is the group that eventually became part of Unashamed, or it was just a separate thing?
Group of 30 started coming for all the events and stuff. Yeah. Okay. But from the group of 30, he picked some people that could be leaders. Okay. Then I was like, yo, I think we need one more. There's a guy I know who needs to be a part of this thing called Bobo. Okay. So I hit him up. I was like, yo, let's come. So we started meeting regularly to plan next thing. The first thing we thought about was going up Khale and just bringing a bunch of young guys up. So 30, that was the 1st of December. On the first week of January, became 140 something young guys. Ooh. So yeah, the numbers kept going up after that. So the next time what did we do? We did something, another event, and that 100 something became 200 and something. That just young people. Yeah. So
after the Lacrae show, that was your first show as
Excalibur. Yeah.
What happened then afterwards? Was that the end of Excalibur or?
No. We felt like doing like I felt like we should do like a whole project. So we started recording a project. But at the same time, from that show, I started getting calls like, yo, I was at the show. That was crazy. Look, my church is doing something. Do you guys want to come? I was like, okay, no, for sure. Let's come do this thing. So here's the thing: is we're not charging. We're just doing a whole lot of free stuff. So we go there. I think the first church we did was AFM. Okay. It's a big hall. It's got sound guys and everything. And yo, we people are not even clapping. They're just like, what's going on? These guys are really serious about this thing. So
I'm sure you're glad you didn't charge them.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't charge because we messed up the sound. I met the sound guy like a couple of months later. It's like, when you guys came to our church, you messed up our sound. Like, no. So we started improving as we were going. Oh, yeah. I think the nicest thing about churches is like we get to improve, Yeah. Then we started also taking it a bit more professional, starting to require like equipment from like when they were booked, we're like, okay, we need this many mics, because a lot of churches don't take sound very seriously. Yes. Sadly, they'll have 2 mics And they're like, the third one, yeah, men of God, we don't share the third one. We're like, but we are 6. You guys knew we were gonna be 6, type of vibes. Yeah, so even then, like a few months later, we were invited to go to Zambia.
Okay.
I was excited about the Zambia trip, obviously. Then that blew our minds off because we got to meet like other talented Christian guys. Got to meet Shaw Baraka as well. We were opening for him, and the thing about it is the sound at that show was really terrible, and we performed and it was terrible sound. But I don't think God took us there for the sound. He took us there to show us that this is bigger than what you guys think. This is really big. And we were invited to Cape Town, I think the very same year.
Yeah.
During that time, I met one of the guys who became the last official member, a guy called Mukrasti Kabokatsi, aka Christian Boy. He was coming to the Unashamed events, and we used to open up the thing for people to rap. He came in first time, he spit like 4 raps, he choked. Then the next time around he came in, spit about 8, he choked. So I was like, let me meet up with this guy, let me just find out his life, let me just start connecting with him. And as I was connecting with him, I realized this guy's really, really talented. This guy's got really real potential, but the only best way I can help him if he was part of the team. So yeah, just doing life with him, I was like, yo, I'm gonna make this guy part of the team. So he became part of the team, and that's also around the time where one of the guys left the team. He had some commitments, some personal commitments and things he wanted to do. He was also, a few years later he left the country. So it was just one of those things. Yeah. Then sure. What would you like to know?
So you said you started recording an album.
Yes.
So the album got done.
The album got done.
When you're touring with the album.
Yes,
you're still working on the album.
Yeah, we were touring with the album when we started touring.
Okay.
Yeah.
There were no features on the album.
Oh, so the first one I think we had, because we were already 6 guys, so It was a bit tough. Then also me and my they gotta be excellent type of vibe. We had a girl called Glow. Then we also featured a guy who we met in Zambia. That was before the album. Called KBG. He's from Malawi. We met him in Zambia. We featured him, and he's got a crazy story. I need to tell you about this story. So years later, a guy tells me, yo, I went with the Excalibur CD when I was doing my pastoral ministry studies in South Africa. So the guy who with us, he was from Malawi. So he was like the naughtiest guy in Bible school. Like he was naughty. He was like, he felt like God called him, but he just felt like, nah, man, I ain't trying to. So he was not serious about nothing.
Yeah.
So he had a personal time where you just went prayed and said, God, if you really want me to be part of this Bible school and be a pastor and go on fire, you need to grab my attention. You need to do something to grab my attention. So he's playing the Excalibur CD in the dorm room, and the Malawi guy comes on and he's speaking in Chewa, which is from Malawi. Mm-hmm. So the guy comes in the room and he hears this thing and he's just like, whoa, guys, this is my home language. I can hear this. This is my home language, guys. Like, how come? Yeah. So God is like talking to him, and the verse is about trying to be great, but taking like knowing that God is the actual great one, and leaving it all to Him. So that guy just said, okay, you know what, God, you have my attention. So that guy is like a pastor now, go Malawi, and he's like taking God real serious, and that was his turning point. That's a crazy story.
That's crazy.
That's a crazy story. Yeah.
Yeah, you go in the studio, you record an album, and you don't think that your album, that verse will be the one that actually makes or breaks somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's that's one of my favorite stories from there. Yeah. Then we go to Cape Town. Cape Town is also interesting because it's also on faith. So what we really try to like be obedient and be as faithful and fearless as possible. It gets crazy because they are saying, look, come to Cape Town on your expense. We'll just feed you guys while you're here and provide a roof for you guys. So we're like, we have no money. We just getting started. We're not charging nobody. So we're asking churches for money. And we fail to get money. We fail. So 4 or 5 days before the trip is supposed to happen, I was just like, guys, we're driving to Cape Town. I got my beat down Honda Fit. I'm like, guys, we're driving to Cape Town. Some guys are like, no, it's not safe. Can't go to Cape Town. Guys, I don't know. We just need to get there. So I had a little bit of money on me. I went to the garage to get my car checked out.
Yes.
Never know with these Honda Fits. You never know. So the guy's like, yo, you need new tires. Yeah, I still had the tires, the snow tires joints. These tires were not gonna take you to Cape Town. So I had to whip out a 3-month payment plan for the tires, and the guys agreed. So I paid my first installment. I was like, yo, I'll sort you guys out. When I come back, it's like, okay, cool. So we go, and Gabo did not have a passport. His passport long expired because he had only been out the country once. So he went and did this express passport. So the day we were going to Cape Town, he went to check. It just as we were driving out, we went to him, went to the immigration, collected his passport. It just came out I think he did it the 2 days before, and it was just one of those things where it just came out. Collected his passport and went. He had already packed his bags.
By faith.
It was crazy. So we drove, by God's grace. We went. When we started reaching the mountains. So here's another thing. It was so crazy because I was talking to another guy. I was like, yo, the toll gate's gonna kill us because we actually only had enough fuel to go to Cape Town. We didn't have enough fuel to get back. Yeah. And we're like, these toll gates is going to kill us, because we need to duck all of those toll gates. So there's a road on the backside.
The back roads.
To go to Cape Town that we took because we were trying to dodge those. We were praying, we're like, God, let it make it. It's longer, but no toll gates. Because the guys were like, you're going to have to spend 400 Rand on them toll gates. So we're not about that life. So yeah. Oh man, it was beautiful. But as we started going up the mountain, the car just stopped. I'm like, why is the car stopped? It's like, stopped. So we're it's about to dawn, but it's cars off. So we pray. Then we just started looking at the beauty and enjoying ourselves. And I tried talking to another mechanic, just trying to ask what's wrong. Then we're just okay, we're feeling stuck, but we're okay, I don't know what's gonna happen. Let's just start it again after we prayed.
We moved. Came back.
Got to Cape Town. And the funniest thing is we had no GPS and whatnot, so we're calling this guy and yo, we're in Cape Town, but we don't know where we are. Because everyone else, the other artists are coming in through flight and stuff, so we know he's going to be at the airport at this time. We'll wait there. Yeah. We're driving in, so we don't know where we're coming from. So he just says, what streets do you see? And it happened to be a street that they were just about to pass on. So that was God's grace. That place is 4 million people and it's so huge. So you can, we got to get there, and we were off the town. There's a place called Fishhook, which is off. It's a small town outside of Cape Town, the mainland, and we had a beachfront property that was rented for us. Tato had her whole joint to herself. She had a whole room to herself, a whole thing to herself. It was crazy. So man, God just moved in that area, and we met other guys as well. We performed. Guys were like, yo, this is crazy dope. And we're like, yeah, for real? We're like, yeah, this has got great potential. So yeah, they built a relationship with some of the guys who came from Zambia as well. Yeah, and yeah, man, that was really encouraging for the faith and what we were doing. What else you gotta know, man? What else you gotta know?
No, I think let's end it there.
Yeah. Hey, man.
Wait for part 2.
Wait for part 2.
Yes.
It's gonna be amazing. More stories.